Hello. Uh, well, welcome back to my channel, first of all. I just posted a video yesterday of a Eurovision reaction. This one's a little different. I figured I would address this because I've been dealing with something well, actually, a lot of things for the last little while, actually. And tonight, kind of everything came to a head, and I had a little bit of a breakdown. But I'm okay now. It's just there's a lot. So, uh, it's a lot for me anyway, and I think it just helps me to talk about it, to get it off my chest, and also to try to get my thoughts out so that people can understand where I'm coming from on stuff as well too. But anyway, whatever. If you don't want to watch it, that's totally fine. Just this is my explanation video of stuff. So, my name is Jeremy Androsov. Konnichiwa minaboku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegai. If you are new to the channel, I post a lot of weird stuff usually. Lately, it's been like Eurovision reaction videos because I've really gotten into that. My own songs, parodies of stuff, vlogs, daily vlogs. I used to do that actually in like 2014 or whatever. I went to Japan. There's a lot of stuff on this channel. There's lots of videos. Um, Over the last year, it's been really rough on myself and my family. And I haven't really talked too much about it on my social media stuff. But a year ago, January 22nd, I lost my dad to COVID. And it was kind of a mixture of that and his asthma. Um, and a month later, almost a month later, we lost my grandmother. The day that my brother and I got to Calgary for my dad's funeral, actually, and that one was due to an accident. So her anniversary is coming up. So we just went through the year of firsts, basically, my brothers and I, and my aunt, of course, and my cousin. And it's not easy. It hasn't been easy at all. I mean, what the year of firsts is you're going through regular life stuff, birthdays, Christmases, Thanksgivings, holidays of all sorts, just in general. And your family members aren't there anymore. Not physically, anyway. Now, my dad, one thing that dad did say has kind of stuck with me, and I guess in a way it's nice and comforting. Him and his father, my grandpa, had always thought that death was a way of it's not so much of a final goodbye. It's more of a just okay. I'll see you later. I'll see you sometime in the future. So that's one way to look at it. And I've spent the last year in my own way talking with my dad and my grandma still, and keeping a connection of sorts. One way or another. I'm not like a very religious person. I grew up Christian to a certain extent. I mean, we used to go to my mom's mom, my grandma, who passed away in 1996. We used to go to her place on Saturday nights as kids, and we would go to church with her the next day. But that fell out of practice many, many years ago. I haven't been to church in a long, long time. But anyway, we all have our beliefs, and they are what they are. And so there's that. And then in May of last year, I was diagnosed with a hernia. I was wondering what was going on because for a little bit there, I was in so much pain, and all I could think of, like my first reaction was that it was a appendicitis. And I was freaking out, so I was talking to people that I know that have had appendicitis, and I'm like, that doesn't really sound like it because it's a constant pain, like no matter what position you're in, you don't get comfortable, blah blah blah. And I wasn't feeling that, and I have irritable bowel syndrome, so I thought maybe it could be attributed to that or something like gas buildup, but it wasn't that either. And then I noticed there was a lump, so I started freaking out and went to the doctor. Couldn't get in to see my general practitioner right away, so I went to our version of a walk-in clinic, which really doesn't exist anymore. But I managed to get in, and the guy's like, "Yeah, you have a hernia." So at the time, it was fairly small, and I'll just to give you an idea, it's called an inguinal hernia. So it sits right here. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. This is like where my right leg meets my groin area, and it's right in this general area. I'm wearing what's called a hernia truss. I don't dare show it on camera, but it looks like a jock strap kind of thing with a pad that puts pressure and holds things in place. Because what a hernia basically is, from my understanding, and what it feels like, is the wall around your intestine has gotten weak, and your intestines are literally pushing through that muscular wall. And when I asked my doctor what I could have done possibly to do it, he's like, there's honestly, you were born male. um, Males are typically, I guess, more biologically prone to it because as babies, our testes are up there and then they drop as we get older, leaving like a space in there, and it's kind of weak. So if you go to the bathroom the wrong way, if you pull or push too hard at the gym or just in general, anything, if you sneeze too hard, if you're pushing too hard in the bathroom, anything can cause it. Now, my little brother was born with a hernia. My dad had one too at one point. So I don't know if it's a thing that runs in families. I haven't bothered to look that far. It seems like something that would be weird. It's not like a genetic thing, I don't think, anyway. But anyway, I'm here. This is what I've got and what I've been dealing with since last May. And it's been really, really rough. At first, it was like, okay, I can handle it. And then it's gotten bigger over time. And so my doctor, once we got everything sorted out, he's like, okay, I'm going to refer you to a specialist, a surgeon. And so when you hear from them, then we can get things going from there. So that was probably June that I talked with him. And then, so I waited through the summer, did my usual thing, wore the hernia truss, tried not to lift things too heavy. I haven't been to the gym since last January, I don't think. No, I haven't been to the gym since 2020, but I have stuff in my own gym at home, so I was lifting stuff then. But I'm like, what could I have done? Like, I mean, sometimes when I go to the washroom, I have issues because of the IBS, but most of the time it's TMI, diarrhea. And so I'm like, okay, I don't think it's that. And then I'm like, did I push or pull things at work too hard? Like, could it have been because we were carrying my dad and my grandma's caskets? My dad's was easy, because it was literally, there was like this thing that we just pulled him out of the hearse, and there's like a cart that we were able to just take right to his gravesite right there, in Alberta. My grandma's we had to carry quite a ways, and I don't know if you guys have ever carried coffins, but caskets. They're very heavy, even if the person inside doesn't weigh that much. They're very heavy because they're solid, and so I thought maybe it could be that. I don't know. I don't know what could have caused it. All I know is it hurts a lot, and I've been struggling with it a lot, and I try to keep it in if I can. I don't like to, I mean, I do project stuff. I chat a lot. I mean, I'm doing so right now. I just talk a lot. And sometimes I overshare things, and that's just how I am. But I haven't really, like, aside from my close friends and stuff, I haven't really gone into too many details about stuff and just kind of dealt with it. So it's gotten to the point that it has been impacting my work especially. And I feel bad because, there's not much that I really feel like I can do. And after working at a place for so long, like I've been there for 17 years and always kind of just did a lot of stuff like moving around and lifting things and moving things, and just now I kind of feel like, I think anyway, maybe not quite, but what an older person would feel like. And yes, I am turning 40 this year, and in some people's eyes, that's old, but in my eyes, that's not old. And I know that people that are 80 still don't think that it's old because they feel young. It's just their body doesn't want to work with them. And so I kind of feel like that's the similar situation in a way, in a nutshell. So, I can't really do much. And then if I'm standing up, some days I'm fine. Some days I'm really, really not, even with this hernia truss on. If I sneeze, if I going to the bathroom causes all sorts of issues. It literally is a 50-50 chance whenever I have a bowel movement as to what my day is going to be like for the rest of the day, whether I'll be fine or if I'm going to be basically doubled over for the rest of the day. I'm not even kidding. And so talking with the doctors, that's normal. That's a normal thing. And Canada is wonderful in one sense that we have free healthcare. We have access to it, which is great. And I love that. But at the same time, we're also in dire straits with surgeries, just general doctor visits. It's so hard for people to find family doctors. And I am very lucky that I have a family doctor. But like in this situation with the surgery thing, like it's still rough. So I hadn't heard anything from the surgeon going into December, and I had a really bad week of pain. So I figured, okay, I'm gonna give them a call, and we'll just see what they. Oh, actually, no, I should backtrack because I did call them in November, and I just said, look, I my doctor had said that he had filed this and forwarded it to you guys. I looked up the number here. I thought I was supposed to wait for a call, but I'm being proactive here because I see on this website it says if you've been referred to us, then you should call us. So the lady's like literally, she's like, yeah, it's a long wait. You're gonna be waiting a very, very long time. And my heart sank at that point. I'm like, oh no, because I had thought I guess because I'm always so in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm delusional. Delusion. Convince yourself, as Jinx Monsoon said in RuPaul's Drag Race. But anyway, I digress. Um, so I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. So a month later, I had another bad turn, and I'm like, okay, there's got to be something we could do. So I called again, and I think I spoke to somebody different this time, and they're like, well, honestly, normally at this point, it's a year after you've been referred to. That's how long it was taking to even get to speak to the surgeon. And then after that, there's the extra length of time waiting for the surgery because the hospital has to book the actual surgery time. And I'm just, it's I don't even know. I'm still like flabbergasted at this point, as you could probably tell. I'm just tripping over my words. But she said, we could put you on a cancellation list if somebody calls and they can't make their appointment. Then maybe we can get you one. Well, wouldn't you know it? The next day, I got a phone call saying that Friday there was a cancellation. I was just so relieved. Like just this wave of relief hit me. And one sec. Sorry, I have a cold. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but I have a cold and coughing really hurts, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but I'll finish this story first. So that one wasn't bad because I'm sitting down. Okay. Sorry. So I went in on Friday. I spoke with a doctor, and she's like, well, a lot of the time people have hernias, they can live with them their whole lives and nothing changes. And then she's like, okay, stand up. And she's like poking and prodding around and like pushing on it. And I don't even push on it that hard. And it was so uncomfortable. And then she's like, but I don't recommend that for you. I think surgery is the way to go. And I thought, okay, yeah, because it had gotten really big by this point. Like it's a big bulging bulge. Sorry, like and where it is basically, it's like between my right leg and my groin area, and it hurts. And so she's like, okay, unfortunately, they're kind of booking between March and June at this point in time. And remember, this was in December. She's like, but we'll put in the paperwork with the hospital and you should hear back from them at some point soon. So, okay. I'm like, great, great. So just between Christmas and New Year's, I got a letter in the mail from the hospital saying that I am on an official wait list now for 6 months. So January to June, roughly, I should have a surgery date. And just every day, I'm like hoping. I'm like a child on Christmas Eve. Like you just praying or, hoping that I'm going to get some good news, that my surgery date's going to happen. But it's a double-edged sword because it's a good news, but it's also a scary thing. I haven't had surgery before. I've had a colonoscopy, which they put you out for that, and I was fine with it. I remember waking up and there were turtles and ducks in the room that weren't actually there. I don't take a lot of pain medication even now with this, and maybe I should, but I try not to. So when I do go under or when I get pills for things, it hits me hard, probably in a good thing, a good way, because it puts me out. I can take a half a non-drowsy Gravol, and I will sleep. When I went to Japan, it was a 10-hour trip, and I took a half a non-drowsy Gravol, and I slept the whole plane ride from San Francisco to Japan, like to Narita Airport. It was mind-boggling. Um, I'm sorry. This is my mind. I get off topic here. So I am now waiting for a surgery date. If it hits early May before I get one, then it'll be a full year that I've been dealing with this. But some of the things that I deal with, if I sneeze, it hurts so bad. It's like up in my stomach area. So once again, I have the hernia is down here, but it's up here that a lot of the pain happens in my stomach area. And I have put on some weight, like I have a gut now that which I haven't had in a long time, which doesn't help. But it's it hurts. Like I said, when I have a bowel movement, it's 50-50. I don't know what my day's going to be like. And when I go to stand up, when I sneeze, it's just brutal. And I have to like go into this weird fetal position, and that doesn't always help either. But if I'm like applying pressure to the point when I sneeze, it's usually okay. Coughing, I've been so scared of getting sick like this whole time. I haven't really had a cold that I've had to deal with. I did catch COVID just shortly after I was diagnosed with this, but that was in the beginning, like in May of last year. And I didn't have it bad. I did not have it bad. I was very, very lucky. So there wasn't like a lot of coughing and a lot of things like that. So that was fine. It was mostly just I was very tired. But this is like the first actual cold I've gotten. And I work in a public place, like a very, very public place. There's kids, there's adults, and kids are coughing and stuff all the time, and I don't always wear a mask. But I've been very lucky up until now, and the other night I got a sore throat, and I thought, oh no. Oh no, 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 please no. So I was trying to fight it off, and then the sore throat went away, and I felt okay yesterday. Tuesday I had to leave work early because I was not in a good place at all. Yesterday I made it through, but it's super hard to concentrate on things. Like I'm constantly trying to focus on things, but like 50 million things at once because just trying to get my mind off of whatever pain is there. And if I'm not sitting down or if I'm like standing a lot of the time, I'm kind of hunched over. So like kind of if I'm normally I'd be able to stand up like this, but there's times I'm like this and I'm trying to help people and because I'm in a customer service job. And it's tough because it's one of the only things that helps with the pain and stuff here and even down here because it's like in both places at once. So then I'll go and I'll sit down, and for a while that helped, but now it's not as helping as much. So I have to lay down, and so I'll go off and I'll lay down for like 5 minutes if I can, or whatever amount of time I have, and I'll readjust things because if I lay down, everything kind of with gravity pushes back down to where it's supposed to be, so I can loosen my truss, my hernia truss, and then reposition and retighten it, and sometimes that helps, but sometimes it doesn't. So it all has to do with pressure, and if I'm moving around a lot and the truss starts coming out of where it's supposed to be and it starts pushing on the bump, like when there's a bump there, that can make it worse. If I haven't been able to go to the bathroom right away, or I'm holding stuff in, or if I have to pee really bad, or like it fills my bladder, like a lot of these things contribute to the extra pain, and it feels like there's a swelling and stuff like that. And it's just the other day I got really freaked out because and again, I'm sorry if this is TMI, too much information, but like I felt it go down into my scrotal area, and I of course looked it up online, and that is something that can happen, and I confirmed it with my doctor. It happens and then goes back to where it's supposed to be. So it's not like it was staying there. So I've been told that, if things get worse, you can go to emergency, but really they'll only treat you in a couple of instances. One, if you notice that the bump is changing color, and isn't like a normal color. Two, if you cannot push it back in and keep it where it is, like even if you're laying down, and I haven't come across that yet. Three, if you're feeling nauseous or you're feeling like you're going to vomit and stuff a lot of the time. Or four, if you're constipated, which I really don't have that problem. I've been dealing with diarrhea for 3 years, and when I told the surgeon that, she wanted to test me for celiac, and I don't believe I have that. So it's just IBS. It's just a thing I deal with. So in one respect, that's not a bad thing, because when people get the surgery, they often will give you a stool softener, because obviously you're pushing and stuff. Again, I don't really have that issue right now. I don't know what it's going to be like afterwards, but at this point, I'm kind of on the thought line of, let's hope the diarrhea keeps happening, because at least that's one less worry I have to have, with in terms of more pain and stuff. So, doctor said that I should consider taking 2 weeks off after the surgery, not doing anything, basically laying there, sitting there, just not doing anything. And then the next 4 weeks is gradually building back up to things like normal, and then getting back into the gym and like gradually with that sort of stuff. So now with the cold part that I have, coughing has not been fun. Sneezing is hell. I've been dealing with sneezing off and on anyway, but I've kind of been working around with that. Tonight I blew my nose. That was not anticipated as to what the amount of pain would be associated with that. Holy, right in my stomach area. That's what caused me to have a breakdown. It was just everything came to a tipping point, and I just lost it. So I did my usual theatrics that I do, because I'm a Pisces, and yes, I am very much the archetypal one. I live in a fantasy world. I live in my delusions. Um, and I tend to overreact to a lot of things. You can ask my friends, my coworkers, my family. I overreact a lot. But it's been a really rough year, and I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm really not. I'm just trying to explain this and get it off my chest, so that I also have documentation, because that's another reason why I do videos on YouTube, is so that I can look back at stuff that happened. Not that this is something I really want to remember, but it's posterity. It's there anyway. From doing videos on YouTube, I have videos of my dad and my grandma still, like from Christmas parties that they'd come to at my work, and just a few other things and stuff too. So that's a nice byproduct of that as well too. So, but um, I've also noticed I had a lot of what do you call it? Gastral, or when it comes up your throat when you're like laying down, and it's like acid reflux. There we go. So I asked my doctor if that could be something having to do with this hernia. He said probably not, but he gave me some pills, and I take them each day, and they help so much. I haven't had that issue like probably a week and a half now, so I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. That's one plus there. Um, and yeah, so I'm just hoping I can get over this cold, because I don't want to have to blow my nose. I don't want to have to deal with the coughing. I mean, again, there's not much I could do with sneezing. It just happens. Luckily, we didn't have that bad of a fire year this past summer, because coughing from the smoke wouldn't have helped. Just the frustration is still there. I just want to get this surgery over and done with. And they say it's like a day surgery. You're basically in and out, which is great. Kind of like when I had the colonoscopy. Just have to have someone drive you there, and drive you home. And I'm anticipating I'm going to see some other weird animals that aren't actually there. They actually said for the colonoscopy, and again, this is 2009 or 2013, somewhere in that area. They're like, "Oh, you could be awake. Do you want to watch it?" I said, "No, put me out, thank you." So they're like, "Okay, put a mask on me, count backwards from 100," and I remember getting to 98, and then I woke up in recovery. So it'll probably be something similar here. Um, Again, the doctor this time, she's like, oh, well, you could be awake for it. They give you like an epidural. I said, no, put me out. I don't want to be awake for this. So I'll probably be at the hospital for a little while after it's done, just in recovery. So, but I'm nervous. Of course, I'm nervous. I mean, any kind of surgery, even if it is a simple one, it's scary. I've never had stitches other than in my mouth before. So this is a big thing. I'm like I said, I'm turning 40 this year, so that's a pretty big thing. I was a klutz as a kid, but never like terribly klutzy. Like I haven't broken anything, knock on wood. So this is a big thing, and it's a lot. It's been a lot, and my coworkers, my boss, like everybody, my friends, family, everybody has been amazing, like truly amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. I just am the one that's feeling like I'm basically just a nuisance to everybody because they have to pick up the slack of the things I can't do. And it's just, this must be what elderly people must feel like when they get to a point where there's things they just can't do anymore. And it really is frustrating because you're just so used to doing things for yourself, or, you know, something needs to be done, you just go and do it. And now it's it's really hard to do. And that really hurt right in my stomach area. So, um, again, I don't know if I addressed that. The doctor said that that's normal. The pains that you get in the stomach area, down in, sometimes it can get really bad, like in from with men anyway, in your scrotum. Going to the bathroom can be really really bad. Oh, if there was blood in your urine too, that's another thing, or in your not your urine. In your stool. That's another thing to be wary of too. That was one of the other things that you go to the hospital. I mean, I think you'd do that anyway if you see it, and it's a constant thing, and you don't have hemorrhoids. But okay, now that I've taken 26, almost 27 minutes to go through all that, I will stop talking now. And thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, this is basically what I've been dealing with, and so I'm really looking forward to not having this pain, and 2023 getting better, because 2020 to 2022 has been horrible in many ways. But they say bad things come in threes. So 2020, 2021, and 2022 are gone. That's three. So 2023 has to be better. And I am unanimous in that. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll probably still be doing videos off and on, and maybe singing if I'm feeling okay enough to do it, because that sometimes it's hard to breathe sometimes. So it's just when I have good days, I like to use them for the things that I like doing to keep my mind off of the pain. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys again soon.